All right, everyone, celebrating 25,000 dividend investors strong, I am going to answer 2 more investing questions from subscribers today. I am vlogging here live from the Disney Aulani Resort in beautiful Oahu, Hawaii, and I'm going to answer 2 questions relevant to Disney stock. So first and foremost, I do not own any Disney stock in my personal stock portfolio, but a lot of subscribers have been asking me, Ian, what do you think about Disney stock? Do you like Disney stock? I actually love Disney stock, and while I don't own it in my personal account, actually both of my kids own Disney stock. And so I want to talk about that today. I get a lot of questions about Disney stock and also about stock ownership for kids and passing on wealth generationally to the next generation. And so I want to start with that actually with forms of stock ownership for kids. So I get a lot of questions. Ian, what do you think about buying stocks for kids? How do you do that? How do you pass on the knowledge, the mind share to the next generation of dividend investors? And both of my kids, they're really young, but they already own Disney stock. I've set up accounts for them where they can own stock. And these accounts are called custodial accounts. So there's actually 3 ways you can purchase stock for kids. One is through a custodial account. Typically what happens with a custodial account is the actual stock is owned by the kids. It no longer is owned by the parents. The parents are the custodian for the account, but the actual account is owned by the kids. And so this is really cool. It gets the wealth from my name over to my kids, and they own the stock themselves. And when they turn 18, I'm no longer the custodian of those accounts. Those accounts at that time will be owned by them or managed by them. It's already owned by them being a custodial account, but it becomes managed by them at that time. And so I'm one of these people that I don't really like buying too many material possessions for birthdays, holidays, things like that. My children already get more than enough toys and trinkets and things for their birthdays and for Christmas and all of these holidays. And so what I like to do instead is during one of these events, I will always buy them the gift of stock. And so over time, when they get older and older, they have so many years to compound the wealth. All of the dividends are being reinvested. I'm just buying them Disney stock. And so what's really cool about this, they're too young to understand the stock market at this point, but what I do is I actually like to write them letters from time to time, and I include that with the records of the stock ownership. So when they get older, they can read these letters, they can refer to the letters, and quite frankly, when they get older as well, and I start teaching them about money and income, maybe they have an allowance, I will start teaching them about investing their own money into their Disney stock. And I think Disney stock is a really good stock for kids, because if you have kids, you probably realize they love these movies. It's not going anywhere. They love Disney. They love the brand. It is not going anywhere. And I'll get to that in the second part of today's video, where I actually talk about my thoughts on Disney and why I like Disney stock so much as a long-term investment. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyways, I think it's the perfect stock for kids. I think there are other good stocks for kids, like maybe Hasbro. In terms of full disclosure, I'm personally long Hasbro, ticker symbol HAS. Maybe another one is a stock like McDonald's. In terms of full disclosure, I am long McDonald's, ticker symbol MCD. But personally, I think there is none better for kids than Disney, just because it resonates, especially with younger kids, well, really kids of all ages, so much. Now, there are other ways to invest for children as well. We're talking about just a subscriber question here about, Ian, what are some ways I can help out my kids? So one other way is obviously a college savings plan. These are called 529 plans. The expenses of a higher education of college, they are going to be astronomical as time goes forth. And so there's no better way to start investing in your children's future than to set up a 529 plan. What is so cool about these 529 plans is once the money is in, it can grow and compound free of taxes. And so it is a break that the government gives you in terms of investing for your children's higher education. Now, in terms of passing on wealth, maybe you have wealth in your own name. Maybe you want to pass it on, generational wealth. Another way to think about your kids' future is to set up a trust. And there are different types of trusts. Two of the really popular types of trusts are called a revocable living trust, and another one is called an irrevocable trust. Irrevocable trusts are usually for people who are wealthier, and they are going to be paying estate taxes, and they want a trust that helps them optimize those estate taxes as best as they can. Now, trusts get very complex, and so what I would recommend there is obviously consulting a trust attorney. It is money well spent. It is something totally worth investing in. And I know there's a lot of mothers and fathers here on my channel, a lot of parents. And so as you're thinking about your kids' future, you're building your own dividend portfolio. That portfolio at one time, give it enough time, it is going to be so massive. And so it's truly a generational way of building wealth, and you're going to want your wealth to go to good use. You're going to want it to go to good use when the time has come and the wealth is transitioned to your kids. And so certainly thinking about a trust sooner than later, in my opinion, is huge. It is very important. It is very important. So certainly consulting a trust attorney. But anyways, a great way, one of my favorite ways just to get kids started, get them learning about stocks, get money in their names, is the custodial accounts. Now, I'll tell you, one of the downsides of a custodial account is the asset is now going to be controlled by your kids as soon as they turn 18. And look, I'm in my late 30s now, and I'll tell you, when I was 18 years old, yeah, I'm an adult, but I don't have the wisdom or knowledge that I have now, and certainly not in terms of personal finance. And so I think all of us parents realize that at 18 years of age, there's still a lot to learn. And so that's something just to be very mindful of. That I would say is one of the pitfalls of the custodial account. It would be nice if you could set the age of still the parent still being the custodian until an older age, like maybe like 25 or even 30, but it just so happens that it is 18, at least to the best of my knowledge, in many cases. But then again, the way to overcome that potential pitfall is just to be very mindful, to educate your children, to be hands-on with your children in terms of personal finances, to write those letters, and to educate them as time progresses so that when they do turn 18, they can be very responsible adults in terms of managing their personal finances. So I want to transition now to subscriber question number 2, and this is about Disney stock. I love Disney stock, and the only reason, quite frankly, I don't own it in my own account is literally because both of my kids own it, and so all the Disney purchases we're making are just going directly to them, and I don't want to, as a family, be over allocated to Disney. And so that's something to be mindful of as well as you're thinking about generational wealth or you're thinking about allocating assets. Just think of it holistically through the lens of the entire family. If my kids have it in their account already in terms of their custodial accounts, do I really need to have it in my account? No, but I love Disney stock. And so in today's video, actually, I'm just going to talk about Disney, why I love it at a high level. But there will be a future video when I get home. I have my whiteboard. I can go through all the numbers, I'll do that too. But as you always know, I like to talk about the high level first. So we're at the Aulani Resort in Oahu, and I just want to talk about our experience here because I think that's a good starting point to how I personally think about Disney stock. Okay, so hopefully the video is a little more steady now. My arms were getting tired of holding this camera and my selfie stick broke, so now my wife is actually holding the camera, Mrs. PPCE. And so anyways, on Disney stock, I'm going to start with the high level. I want to start with just my experience here in Aulani because I think it's very relevant. Here's a freak kind of weird incident. In the middle of the night last night, the fire alarm went off. And this is going to illustrate actually how international this company is and how international the people who love Disney are. I would say at Aulani, more often than not, the travelers who are coming here are coming from all over the world, from different countries. And what's interesting is anyways, the fire alarm went off. There wasn't a fire, it was just a false alarm. But the message that came across first was in Japanese. It was coming across in Japanese. They decided to play the message in Japanese first, and that went on for a while, and then English second. And so that just gives you a sense of the fact that a lot of travelers here are coming from overseas. They're coming from Japan to enjoy the Disney experience, and that is first and foremost, at least at Aulani here, something that's very important to Disney, that they cater to those clientele and have their message, even in the fire alarm, come across first. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I'll give you some other examples. They have this thing here where you can get a photo pass, and you can literally stand in line. Your kids or you or the whole family can have photos with the various Disney characters. And some of these lines at certain points get very long, and other times not. It just depends how you reach the line. But I'll tell you, there are a lot of people who are coming here. They are very patient, and they are waiting in these lines for a very long time. And it is almost a pinnacle, a grand moment in their experience, in their life, a milestone in their vacation, to be photographed with Moana or Mickey Mouse or one of the various Disney characters that exist. And so it is just so fascinating. As soon as we saw that line, we actually kind of thought, like, look, this Disney company, these characters, this stock, this company, it is not going anywhere. It is so ingrained in culture. It is so important to people's entertainment, to how they like to enjoy their life. And at the end of the day, aren't we all here on vacation to enjoy time with our families? And so the fact that just seeing it on the ground floor, first level, it just entrenches it even more that when I bought a stock for my kids, I want it to stand the test of time. I want it to last forever. Do I think Disney stock right now is just a screaming bargain? Am I going to live off of the dividend yield right now? But no, not really. But let's say 50 years forward, when my kids want to start tapping into their dividends, maybe 60 years forward, is this company still going to be around? Yes. Is the dividend going to be higher? Yes. Is this company going to be thriving? Absolutely. It is not going anywhere. And so if there are companies that stand the test of time, Disney is obviously going to be one of them. So we talked about how Disney, it's international. We talked about how it's really a ingrained experience. It's almost the pinnacle of people's experience to meet the actual Disney characters. I also want to talk about just the attention to detail, the uniqueness of this company. It goes down into the most minute details. So in your hotel room here, the lamp, even the lamp, will have Mickey Mouse on it. Throughout the room, they have these little bow ties that are just kind of even in the wood. It's very subtle. It's not over the top. I think that's something that's good with Disney because they cater to all generations. They have a world-class spa here. They have a world-class experience for adults as well. I'll tell you, the pool, in terms of pools in Hawaii, with the water slides, with the lazy river, just the way it is, it doesn't get much better than here. So it caters to all different age groups, but even down to the most minute detail, everything here is Disney. I'm going to share throughout this video as I'm speaking just some photos from our vacation so you can get a sense of how interesting these details are. But they have a shaved ice at the pool. By the way, it's a really good shaved ice. A lot of resorts, they don't have the good shaved ice. The ice chips are too big and doesn't taste right. They make it great here. But it is Mickey Mouse with the Mickey Mouse ears. When you're getting lunch, they have the cookies that have the Mickey Mouse ears. Everything, every little detail, it's so subtle. I'll tell you another example. They have a store here in the lobby where you can purchase Disney items, and they sell items here such as stuffed animals. They have a mascot here at the resort. His name is Oahu, and you'll see all the kids at the resort. They have these stuffed animals. Their parents bought it for them, and in all of the photos, they're actually holding them. They're taking photos. They're embracing these characters in the photos, but it goes down to every detail. And I'll tell you something else interesting here. I know this is how it was when I've been to Disneyland because I grew up going to Disneyland all the time. What's interesting here at Aulani is they call everyone who works here a cast member, and everyone is part of the cast who works here. Everyone just takes every little detail into account. And so I think that's something in terms of a company living the brand. I have a marketing background. I really appreciate brands. You guys know I invest in companies that have brand. In terms of branding, in terms of living the brand, embodying the brand to the details, through the employees, everywhere, it really is something just to almost amaze you what Disney does. And so that's another reason I like the company so much. Now, at a high level, like speaking broader about Disney, not just Aulani, there are pros and cons with the company. I think most things are pros. I love the fact that they now own Marvel. I love that suite of characters. I love that they own Lucasfilm and the Star Wars. It's just so huge. They have all of their classical characters as well. They have such a franchise, for example, with Coco, with Frozen, with all of these different characters. Now, what's interesting, though, about this company is not only on the entertainment, the movie side of things, but they have the real experiences like Aulani. They have experiences like Disneyland, Disney World. They even have here a vacation club where people can join the Disney Vacation Club and live that experience if they want to every time they vacation. Now, they also have traditional television assets as well. They own ABC, for example. They own ESPN. Now, these networks, with some of the newer networks like Netflix and Hulu, they are facing a little bit more pressure, and so that's potentially a risk with the company. But I'll tell you, now Disney is separating from Netflix. All of their streaming, they're going to go about it on their own streaming platform. They recently announced this, and the stock was literally up, I think, about 10% in a single day. Now, I didn't like that because, again, I want to buy the shares cheap for my kids. I want to keep averaging in, but honestly, their time horizon is just so huge that it doesn't matter. But I would say, in general, most things about Disney, I love it. I think it's a great stock. It's one of my favorite stocks for dividend investors. It's one of, I'd say, at least top 15. I don't know about top 10, but probably. I love the company. Especially for people with a long time horizon. But I'd say if there's any risk, maybe it's with some of the traditional TV networks like ABC, ESPN, that type of stuff. So I'm happy to answer those 2 subscriber questions here from Oahu today at the Aulani Resort. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the photos that I shared throughout the video. And these are now my first 7 questions have been answered. I'll link in the description below to my last video. Basically, to celebrate 25,000 subscribers strong, I'm going through 25 of your questions. So these are 2 more of your questions. Keep asking. I've got a lot more questions to answer in the next few videos. Thank you for your support. In terms of full disclosure, my kids both own Disney stock, ticker symbol DIS. I personally own McDonald's stock, ticker symbol MCD. I personally own Hasbro stock, ticker symbol HAS. In terms of a friendly disclaimer, today's video is not investment advice. I'm not a licensed investment advisor. Today's video is just for your fun and entertainment. If you're going to go out and invest in the stock market or anywhere else, please consult a licensed investment advisor first. Literally just sharing my journey here on YouTube. I want to give you guys a big aloha, a big mahalo here from Oahu. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you have not subscribed yet, please join the movement, PPCEN movement. This is dividend investing for everyone. And before I let you guys leave today, 2 bonus tips. If you are buying Disney stock for your kids, one thing to keep in mind is they do allow you to get a stock certificate. It's really cool. It has all the characters on it. It's really clever, really good looking. And it's a stock certificate really for commemorative purposes. It's not the actual stock certificate, but it commemorates the fact that they own the stock. And it's something you can frame, put up in their room, and it's a reminder of them to think about dividend investing, to think about personal finance, to think about saving money and investing, quite frankly, in what they love. And this is kind of the Peter Lynch strategy. This is the strategy I love so much, is just investing in what they love. Bonus tip number 2 is I'm not really thinking about share price when I buy Disney stock for my kids. I'm just kind of buying it birthdays, holidays, that kind of thing. Sometimes just for fun, just because. But I don't look at the purchase price really and the valuation of the company, because I'm buying it for such a long period of time that the most important thing, the number 1 asset that children have on their side is time. And so I'm not thinking about, hey, I got to time it here. They have so much time. I just want to get the stock, get the momentum rolling, reinvesting the dividends, get the train moving. So that's how I think about Disney stock for my kids. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next dividend investing video. Hey everyone, behind me you see Bank of Hawaii. I am here in Oahu and I am enjoying a family vacation, but I wanted to stop by and check in on my investment. I'm a dividend investor. I own shares in Bank of Hawaii, ticker symbol BOH. I'm a proud shareholder. This branch here is beautiful. It is a beautiful branch, a beautiful bank here in Oahu, and just thought I would stop by to check it out. In terms of full disclosure, I am long Bank of Hawaii, ticker symbol BOH. I love investing for dividends and I love the Hawaiian Islands, so this stock is perfect for me.